thanks, guys. Obviously, a sad but celebratory day with Dougie alongside me. A guy who's given an enormous amount to our footy club. Retires at the end of the season. So, wonderful contributor to our club. Obviously, just nearly 250 games. Loyal, 3 times best clubman, 2 times coach award, won the club champion award back over 14 years. A fantastic career, and it was nice this morning to hear from Doug and what it meant to him to be part of the club, and obviously for us to respond of how much we valued his contribution to our footy club for a long period. And unfortunately, all good things come to an end, and for Dougie, it's going to be the end of this season. But he's been outstanding. He's been a fantastic coach. I know when I started here, Dougie just joined, so I sort of bookended his career. I was a midfield coach when Dougie was here when he first arrived, bringing wet about 68 kilos, and from the minute he arrived, you knew that he had the capacity to have this sort of career. But to his credit, through some ups and downs, he's been able to achieve some wonderful things for our club, play some great footy, loyal, passionate, a competitor to the end in everything he does. He's been outstanding to coach, and I consider myself fortunate to have played some part in his footy journey. So, well done, mate.
Cheers, appreciate it.
Richard, how tough a decision was this for you?
It's always hard to walk away from a footy club that you've loved for 14 years. It's been a fantastic journey. I said to the boys that, along with my family, this footy club shaped me as a man today, who I am. So incredibly sad, but I'll leave satisfied and built some lifelong memories and friendships. So I'm forever indebted to the footy club for what they've been able to do for me.
Why? Why now?
Why now?
Yeah.
It's time. The club's looking to go down another direction, and need to get some youth into the list. And for me, my time's been. I've given all I can to the footy club, and loved every minute. But I think it's a good fit to move on.
You've had a great career. Do you want to stay in football, coaching wise, or what's sort of the plan now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm passionate about and coaching and developing youth. So over the next few weeks, or months, I'll see what that looks like and check the landscape to see if there's any opportunities out there. So, I've really enjoyed that back half of my career, mentoring young players and trying to pass on some knowledge. So that's certainly something I'll look to pursue.
So won't play at all next year, Dougie, like Sample, or if another AFL club give you a buzz, do you consider anything like that?
Yeah, and I'm certainly open to any options. Body feels good, but we'll never say never. So if the opportunity's out there, the club's interested, you'd certainly look at it. But obviously, looking to transition into that coaching in the near future.
So did you think this was on the radar earlier in the year, or did it sort of get pushed along, with the sort of mutual discussion with the club?
Look, there's probably getting injured round one certainly doesn't help, and it takes a bit of time to get back, and it takes time to build your form in that. But I think as the back half of the year wound down, I was pretty clear that this was going to be my last year at the footy club, and I was comfortable with that.
Glenelg Street Parade for you?
No, not quite. No.
Get the play disco back out.
Yeah, get down the Lennings and yeah.
How hard was telling the boys? I know you had to correct the coach on a fact.
It was tough. It's emotional. It's hard to say goodbye. Obviously, still going to stay mates with a lot of people at the footy club and come back and watch the boys, and hopefully they succeed and get the ultimate sooner rather than later. But it's a tough thing to do, but it's also nice at the same time.
So obviously still a lot at play in this final round of the season. How much would you love to see the Crows push on into finals, knowing it's your final year?
I love nothing more. It's we're still a realistic possibility. So for me, it's about performing and playing my role for the team on Sunday, and all the boys are committed to that, and we can only play our role, and whatever else unfolds with other results, we'll just have to wait and see. But if we sneak in, we'll give it our best.
Anything stick out, Dougie? I know everyone says finals and whatnot along the journey, but anything stick out, even on a smaller level for you from your time here?
Obviously the big games, the showdowns, the finals, 2017. I think I spoke to the boys that footy's more than that to me. It's about the legacy you can leave and the friendships and relationships you make along the way, and the impact you can have on other people's lives. And I'd like to think I've helped a few people along the way, and they've helped me, and I've really enjoyed that part of it, and that's what I'll take from the game.
How much did you learn early on in your Glenelg days, Dougie? Was it a big stepping stone for you?
It was a little bit, yeah. I mean, I found it really enjoyable. Obviously, had a lot of fun on and off the field, so it was nice to get around those boys a bit, and led me astray a couple of times. But I think it was really beneficial for me to go back to a Sandford club and learn about the culture and the history of South Australian football. I really enjoyed that and tried to immerse myself in Glenelg, and I'd like to thank them too for the role they've played in my career. I guess it's a bit different now with how it works, but I really tried to soak that up and enjoy the Sandford and enjoy the Bays, and good to see them going well this year. And but that's certainly something I did enjoy.
Don, I know there's always natural progression with list turnover, etc. But players of the ilk and calibre of Douglas and Otten, does it feel like, it does feel like there's going to be this regeneration? Are you still passionate, knowing that that's going to obviously cause a bit of a changing of the guard?
And that's footy life. It's difficult to say goodbye to guys, the quality of the guys we said goodbye to this week, who've been fantastic contributors to our footy club and have added so much to the fabric of the club. And that's what as Richard just said, you come to a footy club and it's the mates you walk away with, it's the memories. There's the wins and the losses and there's the roller coaster, but it's the ability for those guys to impact on the footy club. And we've got a number of players who are more senior. Would necessarily guided purely by their age in terms of their desire to continue on, but we need to continue to move forward, and unfortunately these sorts of decisions are things we've got to take in our stride and be able to do.
There's a few players pushing over 30, I think it's 5 or 6 others as well. Do you anticipate there might be more that
don't know at this stage. I haven't heard any suggestions that anyone else is looking to finish up, but you don't know. It's always interesting for guys, because I reckon guys, once they start thinking about it, it's sort of in their mind, and sometimes they make decisions. Sometimes the game tells them things, and sometimes they've decided it's their time. It's they're just conversations you have and the thoughts that they have.
And this club's been enormously successful under your reign. You've made finals consistently, but if you do have to go the path of playing younger players and take that dip, are you still as passionate to see it through and get the cause and get the club back up?
Yeah, well, that's just part of the evolution of a footy club. I mean, it's a bit like what happens if you just in life. So that'll be the course. That's the path. If that's the path that we choose to take, or that's the path we take. I still think there's a place for a lot of our senior players in terms of their capacity to play the game and play to a really high standard. So I don't think you're sort of ringing a bell saying this is the start of the dawning of the end of an era. This is a couple of guys who have reached the decision to move on from their footy journey at Adelaide Crows, and that's what it is. And I think now it's about recognising the great contribution that these guys have made, and over a long period of time. I mean, 14 years is a long time. When you walk in here as a skinny 18-year-old, as he said, he walks in with that and is able to give a lot to the club and take a lot from the club, and his experience in playing at the Crows sets him up to do exactly the things he wants to do in life, be they in coaching or in business. And I know he's got some property interests as well. So that's all you want. When people retire from a footy club, you want them to walk away with a good experience, better people that can go and become great people in the community, with husbands, fathers, and in the case of the 2 guys we've said goodbye to this week, they're both in that space. So they've given us a lot, but hopefully we provide them with a really good sort of springboard into the rest of their life.
Is it tougher for you to have those conversations with a bloke like Dougie, who just said before he felt like if he was asked he could probably go again next year?
They're just conversations, and they're not necessarily tough or easy. I mean, I've got obviously feelings and emotions for all these guys, having coached them. So it just means that when you actually have to stand in front of the group and say we're saying goodbye to Richard Douglas, it's not easy, because you're actually farewelling someone that you've worked really closely with, and you've shared some good times and you've shared some bad times, and that's the journey.
Is there blowback from you then, Dougie, when they come and say this is the direction we're going? Would you consider it? Do you go, I'd like to go again, or is it just this is what's going to happen?
You obviously you'd like to feel you could play on, but for me, once they made that decision, I was comfortable with that. For me, the club comes before me, and I'm really passionate about this club. I want to see it do well. It's been a tough year for me personally, and I'm happy to leave after 14 years. So, the club's been fantastic to me, as I said, given me so much. I like to think I've repaid that as well. So I walk away very happy and proud to spend 14 years at this footy club.
Dougie, when you say never say never, would you be open to say playing role at somewhere like Gold Coast where they need some experienced players, and then maybe transition to the coaching after a year or two of playing?
Oh, you'd be silly not to look at it. Yeah, absolutely. My body still feels good, so that's an area that I'm passionate in. So you'd certainly look at that if that was an option. So I'm not sure what the landscape. I haven't spoke to any other clubs or anything like that. So that's something that we'll work through over the next month, 2 months, and see what that looks like. But who knows what the future holds? That's what's exciting about it.
So just to clarify, because the club put out a statement this morning saying you've retired. So have you officially retired, or is it like you're open to playing next year if there's an opportunity?
No, I'm finishing my time at the Adelaide Footy Club, so I don't want to put it's just a decision we've made, and that's as far as it goes, really. And I'm just saying that I'm open to other things, like other players that have retired recently have still, I understand there's some clubs out there that are looking for experienced players, so if they come to you and approach you and if the fit's right, well then you'd entertain it.
So what do you expect from this weekend, Dougie? You sort of get a quarter out of the cage or anything like that as a farewell?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Grab your magnet, put it away.
Yeah,
Is that what you're thinking? Just go.
We'll see. Obviously, could play anyway. Played a bit cross half back last week, so who knows? Maybe why not get in the cage?
Is that one of the best things you like about having Dougie's versatility?
Oh, look, he's played a number of roles for us from pretty much everywhere. As a midfielder, he wins a club champ, he goes back, he's gone forward. Just a smart player. He reads the game well. That's why, for a guy like Dougie who's been here for a long time, it's natural for him to lean towards getting into coaching because he's a ripping guy who gets on really well with everyone, and he's got a great feel and a good footy brain. So I'm sure he'll go on and do something in the coaching area in some capacity.
I suppose in the general perspective,
Yep.
I'm looking forward to Sunday's game.
Yeah, very much so.
Alex Keith, he obviously played well in Sanford last week. Expecting him to come back Sunday?
Yeah, he's back. He trained with us today fully, so we've got match committee coming up this afternoon. But he's available, and it was good for him to get a run last week at Sanford. As much as the conditions weren't as conducive to maybe getting a full run, he was able to get through that game really well. Pulled up well and trained today, so positive signs for Alex. Yeah.
And Jake Kelly and Rolly Knight, how are they?
Yeah, both trained fully, so they should both be available.
What's the approach you take? You still give yourself obviously that the hopes there if you win, and obviously win by enough that you're right in the mix.
Yep, and that's the reality. If we go to Ballarat, get a win, and win by a certain margin or as much as you can, you give ourselves a chance. Obviously, we become a bit beholden to other results. We can't now control that. That's something we have handed away for not being able to get the results in the last 2 weeks. But we go to Ballarat keen to atone for last week, and keen to know that if we win a game of footy and win it by a certain margin, well, that potentially puts us in a space to play finals. So while there is hope, we are going with that view.
Is it a bit different, Don, trying to plan to win by 5 or 6 goals rather than just win?
No, we're just planning to win, and the margin will be the margin. And at the end of the day, we're not sort of sitting here going, we've got to do A, B and C to win by this margin. I mean, I think the players will know that, but it's going to be, let's go and start by playing to win, and then take how the game sort of presents.
You had a specific plan for Brody last week. Do you think we have one for Dunkley, Bontempelli or McRae? Obviously they're prolific ball winners.
Yeah, they have. They've been, I think they're averaging nearly 100 touches a game. So between the three of them, they've been certainly very strong in their sort of resurgence, if you like, in the second half of the season. So it's going to be hard to run with all three of them. Clearly, Bontempelli's, is probably their standout, but Dunkley's been in sensational form. McRae, he just keeps racking it up. So we'll have some plans in place for that. We'll look at what that looks like from a selection viewpoint. But the reality is that midfield battle always is pivotal. We didn't get it done last week, but we've got, I believe, great capacity in that space, and I've got great belief in those guys to bounce back from last week, whether it be Brad, Matt, Sloaney, Gibber, those guys who go through there. Brody Smith's been going through there, so we just get better output from them. That will challenge the Bulldogs in that space.
So maybe you go after Bontempelli rather than the other two?
Possibly. We'll see.
Yep. Do you, like you said, Richie, you guys have had sort of conversations throughout the year on where your list is going, and with a number of guys, you consistently do that with Reedy, with a couple of other guys that you haven't offered deals to?
That's all part of list management, yeah.
Yep, so they...
And there's conversations happening all the time. Again, I don't sort of come in here and want to talk through list management. There's a fair few moving pieces that go through list management, to be honest, and those conversations are had between Justin and managers and players, and they're all at slightly different stages, and it's when there's things to announce, we'll announce them.
The report Sam Jacobs met with the Giants. Are we sort of comfortable that if Sam wants to make a move that he goes with the blessing.
Yeah, well, again, I haven't directly asked him whether he has or he hasn't. I mean, it seems, I know there's other reports of other players meeting clubs and bits and pieces, and that seems to be more the norm now. I reckon it's in the last few years you're seeing that happen more often. So, look, clearly, Sam, if that's the case, we'll make a decision. We're super keen for Sam to stay at the footy club. We've approached him and spoke to his manager about that, and we'll see how that plays out. He's a guy who loves the footy club as well. I mean, he's passionate as his footy club's anyone. So yeah, we'd be hopeful he'd stay.
Don, there's one game to go, I guess. How have you seen the rule changes that came in for 2019 playing out this season, and how have they impacted on the style of footy that you wanted to play?
Yeah, the rule change is interesting. I'd be interested to say Dougie's view on some of the things as well. Really, the 666 at CB, I think, has created just a slightly bigger window, if you like, for opportunity to build or keep momentum. We saw it a bit in last week's game, say for half time, some crucial centre bounce losses really created some opportunities for Collingwood to put some scoreboard pressure on. And I think the first 3 goals, they basically won the first 3 CBs, and they came from either CB or a ball up after that, and that just creates that. So it is, the 666 is doing that. I think the other rules are really just sort of rolled through it, to be honest, and I haven't, the kick-in thing hasn't made a massive change. The marking, in the back sort of 15 metres of the ground where they pull the guy back 9 metres hasn't really opened it up as much as you thought. And in actual fact, probably the scoring's gone down, I would have thought, for the year compared to previous. So, but I think the players, like always, as we say at the start of the year, they just adapt and the way it goes. You see anything different?
Nah, that's spot on. Nah. That's all right, man. Took the words out of my mouth.
The 2 system,
Yep.
was that a failed experiment, or is that something?
Well, that was something we tried last week, and for good reason. We're playing a Premier Ruckman in the comp. We had 2 guys we felt really confident, and I thought for a period there they were going okay. And obviously Grundy, got some control in the game in the second half. So will we see it this week? Wait and see, but probably be unlikely, I think.
Can I just check on the logistics, Dom? Do you get a run at Ballarat?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so we're going to travel over Saturday morning, bus down to Ballarat, and we'll have a run at the Oval. I'm not sure anyone apart from the Crouchers have seen the Oval, and even talking to Matty this morning, he said when he used to play there, it was different. They've done a stand and a redevelopment. They've actually shifted the angle of the Oval, so rather than run that way, now it runs that way. So but they're the only 2 I think who have actually seen the Oval. So
is that a disadvantage for you guys?
No, we'll go and have a look around the Oval, and it's going to be. It'll sound trite when I say it's 4 posts at each end, and it's the same size as Marvel Stadium, but that'll be the reality. I think the games I've seen there generally have had some impact from wind, so we'll just have to see how that looks on the day and adjust. Whether it be there's an attacking side or defensive side. It seems to be that when you go to play at the more non-traditional venues, generally if there's wind, there can be some little tricks of the trade. So we'll have a look at those and see what it looks like.
Back to making about you, Dougie. What was your best goal, mate? And I hope you say that Eddie had one and talk me through it. I understand.
Best goal, gee. Where do I start? No, it was an inside-out checker, from about 65 on the boundary, roof closed. Worked it back against which way it should have been going, but no, there's been a couple, but always enjoy a goal. Not as much as you, mate, but no real big marks. No, not really, unfortunately.
So what if you win and play next week? You have to have a presser next week too.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. You
join me again next week. Oh, there we go. If we win this week, we come back next week. You're with me. All right, too easy. Thanks, guys. Good on you. See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Well done, Dougie.